I thought I'd do a quick video covering some of the components in the Jaguar V12 engine bay. I know it's a pretty daunting thing to look at. There's lots going on, lots of pipes, etc. But when you break it down, it's actually fairly simple. This is a 1989 model, so it's quite a late one, all things considered in the production run. But I'll start at the front here. This is the brake fluid reservoir. It's part of the ABS style. This is the Teves ABS system. This is the style of reservoir you have with that. Built into it, you have the ABS valve block, solenoids, and main valve just here, and then that cable there's reservoir level sensors and things. So that's in the top driver's side corner here. We've got the transmission dipstick just there for the GMTH 400 3-speed gearbox. Just at the front here, under this plastic case, you have the starter solenoid, and I think it's the fuse to the air conditioning is located in there. And then generally, just looking across the engine, you have the air filters in here. These are the throttle bodies. Because this is quite a late car, we've got things like this bimetallic temperature switch here, which is part of the ignition controlled ignition, ECU controlled ignition that you have on these later cars. It's called the Morelli system. Got the throttle body on the top here, that activates the two throttles either side. Some emissions control stuff here. I think this is something like a vacuum timer, something like that. Got the 6 injectors in there with the green plugs on them. They're not green from the factory. I had to replace mine because the entire injection wiring loom had gone very hard with age. So that's the injectors there. This is the fuel rail. This is the fuel input. This is the first fuel pressure regulator. And then over there you have the second one. I'm not entirely sure what this one does because it's located before the injection system. But yeah, it's in there at any rate, but I'm not entirely sure why that's needed. At the back here we have the this is the coolant flow not switch, what do you call it, valve. So when you need hot air in the cabin, that effectively opens up and allows coolant to flow to the heater matrix. Down here we've got the fuel pressure idiot light switch, which is that little one down there, and then this big silver one here, that's the oil pressure gauge sender unit. Just in the middle here, it's obviously really cramped in there, there's not much space to do anything, but on top here we've got one of the ignition coils, and then down the bottom there, can I make this out? It's just there. That's the second one, so you've got 2 coils on this later model of XJS V12. Ignition cap in the middle. This here is the vacuum bellows for the cruise control. So that's what controls your cruise control. It basically pulls on this cable here, which goes back to the pedal essentially in the car. And this here is just a general throttle cable. Moving forward then, this here is the auxiliary air valve. It's kind of like an aircon idle up valve, think of it like that. You know, you apply power to it and it allows a bit of extra air to flow into the engine and increases your idle speed slightly. What else have we got here? This solenoid just down here, this blue one, I think that's the air conditioning, not air conditioning, that's the cruise control vacuum switch. This is the AC compressor. In mine, I've just retrofitted this much modern Sandon R134A compressor upgrade kit from a company called Fenair, which is really good, works really well, fits really nicely, gives you a bit more room to operate. Right, going to the front of the engine then, we've got That silvery thing there in the middle, that's the water pump, with the water pump pulley on the front. Below it is the crankshaft pulley in the centre of the screen. I've removed the viscous fan on mine, and I fitted dual electric fans from a Jaguar X type, so that's the reason there's a belt missing on the front there. Alternator is that there in the centre of the screen, right the way down there. See if I can get a better shot of it. Yeah, you can see the belt, the Daco belt just going to it there. It's a multi-ribbed V belt on the alternator. It's not just a single V like the others. This here is just a pulley for the air conditioning belt. In some markets you have a air pump, emissions control type pump. We've got the coolant crossover pipe at the front here. That's this black thing with the cap here. So that's effectively the coolant. Well, it's how the coolant circulates between the heads before the thermostat opens. It's part of kind of the coolant bypass circuit. The thermostats themselves are located in that silver to aluminium there, and then this hose here goes to the top of the radiator. So this is for one bank. There's one identical on the other side for the other bank. They open independently and cool each side of the engine. What else we got? We've got more coolant bleed pipes on the top here. This goes to the top of the radiator, and then over to the coolant pump, not coolant pump, the coolant reservoir tank that side. We've got the air conditioning receiver drive at the front there. These two things here are the ignition modules, one for each bank. I think they're essentially the same as some 6-cylinder cars have. These are original Morelli ones, but I think there's lots of ones you can get to fit there. So I think that's it from this side. I'll just walk around to the side and do another video.